Hi, I'm Rosie, and this is my sister Claire. I work for a charity, but my route to employability, I think like Claire's, has been pretty much an uphill struggle, a little bit of positive and a little bit of negative. I'd say, I think before I got the job that I really liked doing, I worked in cafes, I worked in bars, and each one of them gave me like so many transferable skills that I can use pretty much everywhere I've worked.
Yeah, so I'm the same. I started my career in a lot of sort of a string of hospitality jobs before ending up becoming a teacher. So I'm currently doing my PGCE. I'm running towards the end of my PGCE year, where hopefully by September I will be a newly qualified teacher. And I already have a job lined up for September, but it wasn't a very a very conventional route getting there. I used to be a applied theatre facilitator, and along that, because it was freelance, came a lot of jobs, like Rosie was saying, in hospitality. And it does teach you a lot. It teaches you a lot of transferable skills. It teaches you a lot about yourself and working with other people, a lot of sort of time management skills and that sort of thing. But it does help you in freelance work to do that kind of thing, and you can move up very quickly in those kind of roles in hospitality.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I learned when I was like looking for jobs, when I was figuring out what I wanted to do, was that like, one, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do, because sometimes it feels like everyone's got it figured out and everyone has this set path, and that's, you know, something that you should have as well. But in reality, a lot of people don't know what they want to do, and really, like, people our age, they'll probably be doing 100 of different kinds of jobs. It's not really a sort of one set career anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the reason why I'm really pleased that I'm doing my PGCE now rather than when I sort of finished school was that I kind of had a chance to have a lot of life experiences beforehand that I can now bring to the classroom as a teacher, which I think sort of garners the respect of the students as well, but also brings more to the lessons because I've had that experience in other jobs, in other sectors. And I think that's really, really important. I think, like Rosie says, you know, you shouldn't really feel worried if you don't know exactly what you do when you come out of school, because I don't actually know anybody who thought what they wanted to do a certain job and is in that job now, the same one that they thought they wanted to do from school. And there's sort of such a winding path that can take you to loads of different directions. So I think it's always good to be open-minded and to not expect everything all at once. Everybody's got to a certain place through lots of hard work, but also through being open to different opportunities. I think if you read any biography by a famous person or someone that you admire, you'll definitely see that it wasn't a sort of a straightforward path to get to where they are today, which I think is also really important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think also, like, I mean, like we were saying before, don't sort of compare your journey to other people.
That's really
It's really
important.
easy to be like, oh, so-and-so seems to be doing really well, and, you know, there's a lot on social media that can make you feel really inferior and make you feel like, you know, you're not achieving and you're not successful, when actually, like, there isn't an end goal. Everything that you do, you are succeeding. Everything that you do, you're learning, and that's really the end goal. So I wouldn't be worried if you feel like your friends or your family are doing better than you, or people are putting pressure on you to go a certain way, because actually you've just got to sort of listen to yourself, and whatever you're doing now is right for you at that moment. Yeah,
and you never know what's right around the corner, so it's always good to just be open to different kinds of opportunities, but also putting yourself out there. Networking is a huge thing. It's a word that people throw around all the time. It's something that I'm still learning to get better at, and is a lot easier when you're in a much more comfortable environment to be doing networking in. So by doing work experience, that is kind of a form of networking, and just gets you contacts that you never know further down the line will, you know, possibly contact you for a possible job. And that's how I got a lot of my freelancing work when I finished uni, was through people that I'd met through doing other projects, but also through work experience, people that I also just emailed, and I might not have got anything from them at the time I emailed them. Then once, you know, a few years down the line, they needed somebody with sort of a similar interest or similar skill set that I had, that they dropped me a line, and then I was working with them for a couple of years. which is, I think, is always the thing, is not to expect everything to come at once, especially when you're kind of putting yourself out there quite a lot. You're putting yourself out there, putting out loads of applications, maybe writing lots of emails, lots of things, work experience. Sometimes people might just not have the time or the space for you, but they might do further down the line. It's always good to kind of keep positive about that kind of thing as well, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think like networking and is like such a huge word, and it makes you kind of terrified that you have to go up to someone selling yourself, when actually like you said, it's usually people that you know, or people that have worked with you before, or people that just, you know, were there at the right time. So I think networking can also sort of become quite forced when actually you get the most out of people that you already know you. And, you know, I heard of a really good story recently of someone I know who writes, and she wrote a pitch to someone and they weren't ready for it at that time. They said no thanks. But then a few months later, they loved the idea, they were ready for it, it was what their publication was looking for, and so messaged them back. So like Claire said, it doesn't all come at once, but sometimes, you know, the longer you wait, the better it is.
This is very true. Yeah, this is very true. And hopefully down the line, and you have had numerous different experiences that you can then bring to that role that you kind of initially were interested in at the beginning, or you have sort of a different interpretation of it as well. I think that's also really, really important. Is to be open to those changes that will inform your choices and will make things a lot clearer, I promise, further down the road. I know when I was at school, I never dreamed of wanting to be a teacher, but definitely not, especially because both of our parents are also teachers. Yes. We come from a family full of teachers, that I wanted to do anything but teach. But I then realised in all the other jobs I was doing, that a lot of the skills that I can apply to teaching came from doing all these different jobs. And I didn't really realise at the beginning, but without doing those different jobs, I wouldn't have known that I was kind of destined for that path, as it were. Same with my facilitating work. My facilitating work ended up taking me a lot of the time to schools. And I realised that was an environment that I actually really enjoyed working in. But without that experience, I wouldn't have known. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind as well. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Ready? Great.